warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Dear esteemed viewer of Salam Television, welcome to today's session of the Alhidaayah show that comes to you on the screens of Salam TV every Thursday from 3 to 4 o'clock. And today we are looking at aspects of good morals in Islam. We are going to be looking at a very interesting subject that is to do with the aspects of good morals in Islam, which is the aspect of what are the medical implications of early and delayed marriages. And inshallah, to help us understand that, we are going to be joined by a medical practitioner who is Dr. Mariam Shinene. I request her to say salam to the viewers.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, dear viewer, marriage is a very important aspect of our religion because it helps in one, defining the moral fabric of the communities we live in, plus the many other benefits that are socio-economical that are associated with marriage. And remember, in Islam, our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that marriage is my sunnah. Whoever does not hold on to it is not part of the fold of Islam. So it means marriage is a very important aspect. In the show that we covered last week, we looked at what are some of the medical precautions you should take hold of before getting married. And our doctor helped us to understand that there are a number of medical tests you should do, understanding the blood history and the rest that we saw in the show that went last week. So if you missed out on the show, remember you can always catch it on Salam YouTube channel. That is always, you just type in Salam TV and then you put in medical considerations before marriage. You will get the content that was covered then. So today, what are the medical implications of early and delayed marriages? Because we have noted that somebody would want to get married, and then by factors that we all know, some are natural, others are self-inflicted, others are factors beyond control, we find that some marriages are delayed. Then there are also cases where you have somebody going into marriage very early, and we are asking, what is early marriage and what is delayed marriage? It is what our doctor here is going to help us understand. So doctor, for starters, we shall start, the topic is having two areas, early and delayed marriages. So we shall, I think, start with the early marriage bit of it, because I think it is one of the most debated upon issues, to the extent that our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is faulted to have engaged in an early marriage. So we want to help us understand medically at what age or at what stage do we call this an early marriage, and then what are the implications, and then later we shall be looking at the delayed marriage bit of it. So doctor, we can start with the aspect of early marriage. When we talk about early marriage, what should the viewer out there understand, and specifically in terms of definition, what would early marriage contain?
Thank you so much, Mr. Sekalala. Okay. Billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Like from the medical perspective,
Yes, please.
like the consequences of marriage are pretty different from marriage.
Okay.
Just like you saw the Prophet, peace be upon him, married Lady Aisha,
Yes.
anha, and then some aspects were delayed until she became of age.
Became of age now.
Yes. So there is that difference. Like, for example, from the medical point of view, we are concerned about teenage pregnancy.
Teenage pregnancy.
So like if people chose to marry, like for example from the Ugandan perspective,
Yes, please.
like somebody is considered to be an adult at 18.
Okay.
So if somebody decided to get married at 18, they could then, from the medical point of view, delay to have birth, to give birth, because when you give birth like early, there are some complications that are associated with teenage pregnancies. Like it has been observed, like some complications like malaria in pregnancy is much more common in teenage pregnancy. And then there are complications that happen in pregnancy, like developing high blood pressure, like preeclampsia is also much more common in teenage pregnancies. And then they usually get like mental disorders. Yes. So if people have chosen like to get married, like to keep their morals, and the girl has consented and the man, then they could seek like medical guidance. Some of the aspects like giving birth could be delayed in an option that they can choose to allow the girl to grow and to kind of like reduce on some of those risks that have been associated with teenage pregnancy.
So in other words, to the viewer out there, when we talk about early marriage, our doctor is telling us that if we want to appreciate what early marriage in the context in which and the times we are living in, it's basically what we call teenage pregnancies, meaning someone should try as much as they can to avoid what we call having a teenager getting married. And to put it in context, I think a teenager is someone above 12 and below 20, right?
Yes, like in teens.
In teens. So meaning below 12, it is a complete no-go area. Then between 13 to 19, preferably, the person shouldn't be getting married. Of course, that is the ideal. But I'm going to request the doctor again to put this in context, because in Islam, our Messenger Muhammad tells us that 3 things cannot be delayed. When the solar time has approached, you establish it. When somebody passes on, we have to make necessary arrangements to have them married. And then thirdly, when a lady is ready for marriage, she should also get married. Now, if you're giving us the aspect of minimum below 20 as what the medical practitioners recommend, we are having debates of late. I think I can also share with that in some other countries, for them, they have what they call the minimum age of marriage. Like I was reading an article about medical implications of early and late marriages in Indonesia. For them, the legal age of marriage is 21. But if the intending partners can prove to the authorities that we can manage this, actually they gave 3 factors that show readiness for marriage. One was physical readiness, in terms of the you call it the physiographical makeup. I don't know whether it is physiology, yes. Then also they looked at the mental, emotional. Is this person mentally and emotionally ready to go for marriage? And then the social bit of it. But they said if this person can, with the guardians, and then they go to the authorities, they say the maximum they can allow for a male person to get married is 19, and then the female is 16. That is Indonesia, because I think for them it is a largely Muslim majority country. Then when you come to Uganda, for us ours is 18.
It's 18.
Yes. But when we try to merge the fact that medically it is 18, but we have cases of where people engage in promiscuity as early as the P7 VAC, actually even P5, right? And of late, there was also a discussion by our government that they want to, it is a suggestion, I don't know whether it has been bought by the public, that the girls should start having, they called them what? Family planning pills being put as part of the school requirements. And people are saying, now it means you're just encouraging these people to go into. Now, how do we marry the fact that in terms of marriage, we are restricting it to 18. But in terms of people engaging into marital relations, they start as early as 9 and 10 years. How medically, how should we explain this, and then how should we merge the two? Because Islamically, you'd find that it encourages us to get married as early as possible.
Girls and boys getting involved sexually at an early age, it's very risky. They risk getting cancers in the future.
In the future, yes.
Like there is there are inner linings of the cervix.
Yes, please.
Cervix is that outer, is the lowermost part of the womb. Like for example, if somebody is in labor, which dilates and they say so many centimeters, but inside it, in the canal, there are cells that line it.
Okay.
And those cells are different from its outer part. The inner part, they are different.
Yeah.
So there is that squamocolumnar junction,
yes,
where the two cells meet. That's a very delicate area, and in future that's where most of the cervical cancers come from. And one of the risks is getting involved sexually at a very early age. And then the earlier somebody gets involved sexually at a very early age, the more that person is likely to have more sexual partners. And they risk things like human papillomavirus.
Okay.
There are very many subtypes of human papillomavirus, and some of them cause cancer. After like a long period of time. Somebody may have had exposure like early. So when the thing of like early, it's more of like being involved in sex like early enough, which is like the risk. And if the girl has become of age and the boy is of age and they can take care of themselves and the family can support, like to really reduce on having so many sexual partners,
yes,
like
please.
It can be dealt with like case by case. You'd rather be like formally like married, so that you're not like at risk of having so many relationships with different people. And then in that formal marriage, they can discuss like your future. You could decide to delay childbirth in the safe way that is agreed upon by both parties.
By both parties.
Yes, so that the girl is safe, the boy is safe, or the lady and the gentleman, and they can pursue or work even on their careers. And then have babies at the right time.
So in other words, the viewer, we are discussing the aspect of medical implications of early marriage, and we have noted that medically, anything to do with someone engaging into marital relations before the age of 20 or in their teen years is something that is not recommended because of the medical risks that you might fall into. She has explained most of the medical terminologies that I cannot ably remember or remind you about, but the fact being that if there was opportunity for us to have this boy, this girl, keep away from marital relations, then that is the duty of you, the Muslim parent, you, the member of the community out there, to see that you train this daughter, train this son of yours, to see that they have to wait for the right time for marriage. And in Uganda here, we're encouraging people that get educated, perhaps maybe finish minimum senior 6, and then maybe you could get married as you're entering university, or even others prefer after university. But the issue is, if we can avoid it before that before the end of the teen cycle years, that is the 13, 14, 15 up to 19, that would be the best and most recommended thing. So doctors, we want to conclude the aspect of these early marriages. Of course, you've told us the most important thing is for somebody to delay, but you have also told us that because people in Uganda, we are in a very permissive society where marriage is looked at as a punishment or some kind of, it's like an evil. So people would prefer to engage in marital relations before marriage, and then after some time they call it a purifying, right? Now, maybe as a final word, we have encouraged the parents to keep these children in situations that enable them to keep away from marital relations up to when they get of age, and then they can get married at an appropriate time. But you also indicated to us that if there are those who reach a point where they want to get married, they can get married, then they can agree that we are married, but we can keep this the issue of engaging into marriage up to an appropriate time. So as we are winding up the issue of early marriages, what would be that final statement you want to tell the young boys, the young girls, the parents out there, that abstaining and keeping pure as a Muslim or as a Muslim boy is an act of ibadah, and one that is going to gain you rewards before Allah, as we are seeing to conclude the first segment of this show?
Okay. MashaAllah, like as human beings, we are created in the best image, and we are created to worship Allah.
Subhanahu
and
wa
both
ta'ala.
girl and boy, or man and woman, we need to respect our bodies, because Allah is going to ask us. Yes, so we are supposed to guard them jealously within the teachings of Islam. We abstain from sex, even if you think you've put away most of the risks. We need to be chaste, like before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we abstain, and then like bi-idhni Rahman, when the time comes and you've gotten the right person, you go through the steps. Go to the hospital, you talk to your parents, to your aunties, and then you do the check socially, the history we talked about, and then to the hospital you get screened, you get tested for all those things, the HIV, hepatitis, syphilis, and then you're medically like advised. And then that is when you as a human being, you allow somebody to have canon knowledge of your body, whether you're a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. Otherwise you're supposed to keep chaste and avoid like getting into illegal relationships. Or it's risky and it is a sin.
It is a sin.
Yes.
So it is a sin, and then it is risky to your life.
On the healthy part of it.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So viewer, we are this is the Alhidaayah show that comes to you every Thursday from 3 to 4 o'clock, where we look at aspects of good morals in Islam. And today we are looking at, with the guidance of our doctor here, the medical implications of early and delayed marriages. So remember that this show is, you can always watch it on YouTube, and then if you've missed out the earlier parts of the show. Today we have been blessed that we have a line that you can give in your feedback. I'm going to read it shortly. If you have a question or comment for the doctor to give us a response, we shall be welcoming it. The number is 0786 10 32 00. 0786 10 32 00. The number again is 0786 10 32 00. So note, it is only for WhatsApp messages. We're not expected to call. Write your comment and then a question that the doctor can respond to as we are going along. So as we are preparing to go into the break, we have said that early marriages is a concept that, if we are to understand technically in the medical language, is anything to do with avoiding teenage pregnancy. And by definition of a teen is anyone above 12 and below 20 years. So 13, so meaning between 0 and 12, we don't expect you to be saying that I am ready for marriage. Now between 13 and 19, parents put the different mechanisms. If you can keep your daughter in a boarding or interfaith, we have a lot. Teach them Quran, teach them how to manage their bodies, how to understand themselves, empower them to know and respect their bodies. It is all we can do between the ages 13 to 19. And remember, those are the years of very active bodies. So as a parent, as a guardian, you have a duty to see that your son, your daughter go through those ages when they are properly groomed and guided. such that they can hold it there until when they reach above 20, where we have seen that by then somebody has physically developed, mentally developed, and emotionally developed, and then perhaps they also have got a social standing that they can look up to before they can get into this marriage. So doctors, we are preparing to go for the break. You hinted on somebody knowing that they should respect their bodies and that they shouldn't think that they can avoid risks associated with early marriages. You know, nowadays there's a common thing that says people fear AIDS but not pregnancy, right? So they have the option of condoms, they have the option of pills and the rest. But you have emphasized the fact that please do not deceive yourself that you can put away risks associated with early marriage. All you have to do is to keep it pure, as Allah mentions in the Holy Quran, the pure for the pure, and then the good also for the good, and the bad for the bad. So as we are winding up, our viewers should also be reminded that the Messenger Muhammad says that if a lady kept herself pure till when they got married, it will be a reason for her parents to enter paradise. So it is also another maybe perhaps thing that you can think about. Do you wish paradise for your mommy, for your daddy? Then you have an option but to keep pure. So doctor, as we are going to the break, any final word about early marriages as our viewers prepare to give us comments?
So the issue is much more of indulging in sex at an early stage.
Okay.
Even if like you've prevented HIV and pregnancy, there are some risks which you may not be able to avoid.
Yes, please.
Like being infected with human papilloma virus. Even if you use condom, you're at risk. And you may have the contact, like maybe the effect of it, you may see it like in 20 years, like some people develop cancer and complication when the root cause started way back.
Way back.
Yeah, that's why even on that aspect, they encourage like people to keep on screening for cancers after 2 years, like when somebody has started being sexually active. So it's more of like we allow our bodies to grow and we develop ourselves mentally, spiritually, and then we get married when we are ready in all aspects of life, like physically, mentally, spiritually. Yeah, it doesn't have to be at 20, but if you're of that age and you think you're ready, you've identified the right spouse, you can seek guidance from your spouse. After seeking guidance from Allah, and then you work out a way that can work on both of you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Viewer, you have been a very wonderful audience. Want to thank you again for keeping it with us here on Salam Television. This is the Alhidaayah show that comes to you every Thursday, 3 to 4 o'clock, where we look at aspects of good morals. So inshallah, we are going to be taking a very short break, and then we shall be returning after a while. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Explore, enjoy and dance to the latest content, beats and kawozi from Uganda and beyond. Simply go to your Play Store or App Store right now, find Afro Mobile, download it straight to your phone and get started. Is it TV you want? Simply open the app, click on TV, select the channel you want and watch live. Are you busy right now? Then check out On Demand or enjoy in your free time. Afro Mobile. The future is now.
Welcome to SourCon 2024, where extraordinary minds converge and aspirations take flight.
A lot of the dreams you have not done is because you're physically constrained.
Get ready to make your mark in 2024. SourCon promises to be bigger, bolder, and more inspiring than ever before. Get ready to elevate your career from good to great to unstoppable. On Thursday, 22nd of February 2024 at 8 a.m., we kick off with the Sales Warrior Convention at only 250K for all business development and sales people. And in the afternoon at 2 p.m., our keynote speaker, Vusi Tembekwayo.
People in the practice of a skill or craft. You have to practice for $10,000 or more.
Will elevate all professionals in the private sector, NGOs and government institutions, diving into strategies that will spark transformation in your professional journeys at only 250K. Must attend for everyone not in sales. CEOs and senior management teams, do not miss a breakfast with Vusi Tembekwayo on Friday, 23rd of February 2024 at 8 a.m. at only 1 million with the theme Leading and Scaling Your Business at the Age of Chaos, hosted by the tenacious sales warrior, Daniel Chaudhry. Our sessions are designed to provide you with actionable insights, empowering you to achieve unparalleled success at Kampala Serena Hotel. The race to excellence has no finish line. We can all do much better than we are doing now. This convention will give you nuggets and insights that will ensure you make your mark in 2024. Get your tickets now or call us if you would like to sponsor.
Omumanyi wa Salamu TV wa 2024 akubye kodi ayingidde. Ono akuna mchezo wandiba munamukisana wangula hijja ettaka pichipichi saako ebirabo ebirala nfofoolo. Janguwe wandise katikati n'omutwalo gumu gwokka. Weetabe mumanyi wa Salamu TV owa 2024. Jangu olage ky'olinawo mutwe gwe gukweyimirira. Anti kibuuzo ku kibuuzo gwe ng'oyanukula ebyeddiini ebyafaayo wamu n'ebigenda maaso mu ggwanga. Omumanyi wa Salamu TV wa 2024 wakulagibwa butereevu ku Salamu TV omwezi gwa Ramadhaani gwonna. Okwewandiisa wamu n'okumanya ebisingawo wanula ennamba zino 0702 98 8 64 oba 0776 98 8 64. Omumanyi.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewer, we welcome you back from the short break. This is the Alhidaayah show that comes to you every Thursday 3 to 4 o'clock, and where we look at aspects of good morals, and specifically we are looking at medical implications of early and late marriages. My name is Muhammad Sekalala, and with me in the studio we have a guest in the name of Dr. Mariam Shinene, who is a specialist gynecologist. Before we went for the break, we were looking at what are early marriages, and then what are the implications, and we concluded a note that says that early marriage basically is ensuring that you avoid whatever is to do with teenage pregnancies. If we can all endeavor to do that, then we would have done the community a good service. So doctor, as we are coming back to the second segment of the show, allow me tell my viewers again that they can always give their feedback and comments on the WhatsApp number that has been provided to us, 0786 10 32 00. 0786 10 32 00. You can WhatsApp your comments there. We shall be seeing them and then sharing with the doctor here. So doctor, having looked at early marriages as an aspect that that one largely is asking people to abstain till when they reach the right age. In this second part, we want to look at, there's what we call delayed or late marriage. What is it? At what stage can you say somebody's marriage, somebody has delayed to get married, whether man or woman? And are there biological implications that or medical implications that somebody could run into when they get married late or they delay to get married? Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you so much, Mr. Sekalala. Like from the medical perspective,
Yes.
it's more of like the consequences of marriage. Like for example, it is ideal by the age of 35 that somebody is done with her childbearing, because there are some risks that increase after 35 years of age. Like the girl, when she's still in her mother's womb, all the eggs she'll ever have get developed, and she doesn't develop any other more eggs.
So
like
at 35, the eggs stop developing?
by then they'll have markedly like reduced, because while you're still in the womb, you have all that you'll ever have. It's different from men who have like spermatogenesis after 72 hours. For us, all the eggs we'll ever have in life, we have them before we are born, and they keep on decreasing even before we are born. When we reach like puberty, like on a monthly level, normally every 15 to 20 of those follicles, those eggs, the undeveloped eggs like go into a stage and they develop, and one of them becomes very mature to reach a state where it can turn into a baby if fertilization like takes place. So it keeps on like on a monthly level. Though somebody may miss a period, but then they may be undergoing that change. So the quality keeps on like reducing.
The quality of the egg?
The quality of the egg. And some complications like congenital abnormalities also increase like with age. So that's why like if somebody reaches 35 and still wishes to have like babies, it is recommended that they take folic acid, 5 milligrams. That is meant to nourish or to try and avoid like congenital abnormalities. Like some abnormalities may be like a blighted ovum, like a pregnancy and the egg is empty, there is no genetic material. There are abnormalities like hearts, like inborn abnormalities, like the heart fails to develop or it develops with complication, or the brain or any other part of the body. And then the other thing that increase with age, there are complications, just like we saw like early, like if somebody got pregnant early, like in teenage ages, even likewise if you got pregnant like after 30, there are risks that are involved. Like you're also more prone to getting complicated malaria, then also complications like preeclampsia, like blood pressure and its complications in pregnancy also do increase. And somebody who delays to have birth, there is an increased risk of having fibroids.
Fibroids.
Yeah, though there are other causes like genetic, and then maybe the body mass index, but still like delay in having babies puts you at that risk.
At that very risk.
Yes.
Wow.
Like,
thank you very much, Doctor. So, a viewer, we are looking at the aspect of delayed or late marriage, and basically, Doctor is saying, if you're a lady, any age between 20 and 34 should be the best age for you to be in marriage and be in childbearing age. The moment you clock 35, then there you're inviting complications. Today we have a great number of people, or ladies, who say they need to first make money, and then, so I think this should tell them that getting married is a very important aspect that they should very well appreciate and know that if I don't get married at the right time, then I might run into the risks of problems associated with getting married late. So, Doctor, the analysis you've given us is largely for the ladies. The men, for them, it means they don't have a later, you don't have any age where you say somebody is late for marriage or is late for childbearing age.
Okay. For the men, just like we've seen that their spermatogenesis is every after 72 hours.
Yes, please.
So if somebody is well nourished and well fed, there are increased chances of having like quality spermatozoa, like quality sperms. Except that with aging, there are other complications, like if somebody is 40 and above, there are complications which come into play. Like somebody can get diabetes of adult onset, high blood pressure, and somebody's prostate may enlarge. There are other complications which may arise, which may affect the quality of the sperm. So like it would be better, if all is well, to have that their children when they're like below 40. Yes, but if somebody, like for example, because everybody is different from the other, the factors like are different. When you know that maybe you're starting your family like late at 35, like for a lady, then you go seek for medical consultation and follow up with the visits and the precautions taken as you pray hard. Because marriage is an act of worship. Yes, and there are preconditions for marriage, like which have to be fulfilled. Yes, both the partners should consent and agree, and they are not forced. Yeah, you don't just pump and marry into somebody. So for some reason, if you find yourself like having to start family like late, then go seek permission, because Islam allows you to consult before undertaking a particular project, whatever project that it is. Don't just live into risk. There are some precautions that you take as you pray to Allah. Yes.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So,
welcome.
viewer, we are looking at delayed or late marriage, and doctors helped us understand that for ladies, delayed marriage, we can say when you clock 35, you are in the what we call the eve of the years of marriage, of childbearing age. You can still get married, because we know people who even get married at 60, 50, but of course there I think considerations are different. But we are looking at childbearing age. Then 35 for a lady is at the time that you should work not to exceed. For the gentlemen or for the men out there, doctor has told us by 40 years you can still you're still good at childbearing, but there are risks that you run into, diabetes and others that usually would affect your marriage as you go along. So doctor, as we are running towards the final minutes of the show, I want you to help my viewers understand. Of course, delaying to get married, there are what we call the voluntary assumed risk factors that people put for themselves that make them delay get married or delay having children. And then there are also those that are natural. Somebody, there's a person I know of, they spent 10 years in marriage without a child, others 15, and but they were already in marriage. So we can look at this as that is factors beyond control. But alhamdulillah, after the 10 years with patience and praying, Allah blessed them. Actually, even in the scriptures we read, we have an example in Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, where he also, after a long while, Allah blessed him with children in old age. So I'll help my sister, my brother out there who is still struggling to get a partner, or is in marriage but they have not yet they have not yet been able to bear a single child. What message would we have for them medically, such that we see how to avoid the risks associated with late ages of childbearing?
Thank you so much. Okay, like normally, if somebody has had unprotected sex for 1 year,
yes, please, and
it is adequate sex is like on 4 different days in a week, when the lady is not in her periods. Okay. If you have that and for 1 complete year and you haven't gotten pregnant, then you should seek for medical help. You should see a gynecologist, an obstetrician, you should seek for help.
Seek for help, yes.
Yes, for medical help as you pray about it.
Okay, so
but if somebody is of age, like you've gotten married and you're of age, you don't have to wait for 1 complete year. Because if you're already 35, if you're already like 35, you do not have to wait for 1 complete year. You need to seek, you need to seek for medical consult so that precautions are taken. And then to reduce on the risks. The reason of seeing doctors and consulting in addition to praying is to ensure that pregnancy is very safe. Yes, we do our best and then we leave the rest to our, just like Islam teaches us. Yes.
So in other words, if you're in marriage, it is a halal marriage, legally celebrated marriage, and then 1 year in marriage, no child, doctor is telling us you need to seek the service of a gynecologist, and then they examine and then give you the necessary advice. Then for the one who has gotten married, they are way beyond 35 for the lady, beyond 40 for the man. Please do not wait for the full year. Doctor is saying you're already too late and therefore you need to seek medical advice right away, because we don't want to go into the risks associated with a prolonged or extensions of delayed childbearing. So doctor, still on that same point, we have cases where somebody is in this marriage it takes long to conceive the next, after 1 birth, takes about, if not out of because they agreed or what, but they keep on trying, then it takes them 2, 5, 6, 7 years. What would be the advice for such people again?
Okay.
Because the other one was for the case of who had completely failed, but this one, after there's a very big gap between the first childbirth to the next.
First of all, depending on how old they are, if they've already had like a baby and they are within the 20s and the 34, you could first try to have adequate sex. If you've had adequate sex for 1 complete year and you haven't gotten results, then both the man and woman should go and see a gynecologist, because there may be just some small issue. It could be that maybe you're not producing like a big enough egg which can be fertilized to become a baby finally, that you need to be helped a bit. And it should be like both, because usually people come mostly it is the ladies that come, and then they will let you know that my husband is very hard. He thinks maybe he has already had like a baby, so he thinks maybe he's okay. But a man may be able to make a lady pregnant like this minute and unable to make a lady pregnant in the next 1 hour or next few minutes. Either the factory has been affected by the viral infection, or somebody has kicked the person, or like in the system, like some system is drenched a bit. So when it comes to having babies, it takes both the man and woman that should all both go and seek for help.
Seek for help.
Yes.
Thank you very much, doctor. As we are winding up the show, doctor, there is some very important analysis I was trying to make here. If this lady, let's talk about the lady, she got married at 20, and then by 35. By the way, menopause is what age? Or it varies also from?
It also varies, like it may range from around 45 to 55. Normally, though some people even after 55, they haven't yet got into menopause, because menopause is that period in time where like somebody has had period stop for completely 1 year, and not because like they've undergone surgery, because some people can undergo surgery where they remove the uterus and all the ovaries, or they undergo medications, like strong medications which affect the ovaries, and then the period ceases. But there is that normal, it's part of like normal growth, like along the way, whereby you reach and periods stop completely, like you spend 12 months without getting your periods, then you know that you're at menopause.
Menopause. So the test of menopause is 12 consecutive months.
12 consecutive months
without
getting
periods.
Yes, when you've come of that
so
age.
Is it by any chance it can reappear again, or when it is done that is it?
When it is done, it's done. You're evaluated. They can do some hormonal tests to confirm it. Then when you get a bleed after menopause, that is postmenopausal bleeding.
Okay.
That is a very big risk that you should immediately go and see a doctor. You shouldn't celebrate that, oh, I've gone back to my periods again. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. We are looking at the aspect of good morals in Islam, where we hope to educate the communities and especially the Muslim community about important aspects to do with their moral fabric that Islam came to teach the world. So today we are looking at the aspect of medical implications of early and delayed or late marriages, and we saw that early marriages is largely if we can all strive and see that the boys and girls don't get married before going past the teen years. That is 13, 14 up to 19. It will be the best thing we can do for the communities. But of course, appreciating the fact that being in this sexually permissive and then free society, we can always advise the children that if they really feel they are in their active years, then of course parental guidance and medical guidance is always needed before they can go for that. Then we are looking at the delayed marriage bit of it. We are saying to the ladies below 35, you're good. You're in the best years of your childbearing age. Above 35, there are many risks involved. The quality of the egg diminishes, the number of eggs you have reduced, and therefore the ladies who still have this notion of I'm still making money, I'm corporate, when time is ready, I'll get the man. My dear, doctor has told you the maximum you should say those statements is before the age of 35. The moment you reach 35, you can still produce, but of course the quality with a lot of difficulty. The gentleman below 40 is your age. Above 40, you also run into risks. So doctors, we are winding up. I wanted you to tell us that statistically they tell us that an average woman should have between 7 to 10 kids. Is there a medical complication that would be associated if somebody gave birth to more than those kids?
Okay, like it initially used to be 7, but the most recent survey, it put it like around 5. 5, wow. Yes, on average. But it's always best depending on when you have started and your health condition. Okay. And even you consider the babies as well, like to give them enough time to breastfeed and be okay. Like child makes 2 years, then you think about having another baby.
So it means if this lady got married at 20 and by 55 when the menopause is, in between there we have 35 years, she has the capacity of...
okay, there are risks that are associated with too many babies. That, like if somebody gets too many babies, they usually have uterine atony, they're usually at risk of bleeding after childbirth. But that can be, if you seek for help, that can be avoided by replenishing the nutrients that you lose while you're pregnant. Okay. And if you choose, like everyone is evaluated and assessed to identify whether there is a risk or not. Though generally it was observed that if somebody is past 5 babies, there are risks that increase. Yes. Most of them, like for example, increase in the bleeding could be like depletion, like there is a maternal depletion syndrome. Like pregnancy is a hyper dynamic state, it's a high demanding state. Okay. Nutrients are used for the ingrowing baby to cater for the changes of the body of the ladies that happen, and also to prepare her like to breastfeed. And yet on a monthly level before she conceived, she was losing. So there is that depletion that the more you keep on having babies, because a baby is an opportunistic parasite while still in the mother's womb. Whether you've eaten or not, baby will get the nutrients. If you don't have in your stores, baby will extract them. That's why some people get backache, muscle pains, toothache. Baby will extract. Somebody feels dizzy, like I feel dizzy all the time, I'm fainty. So part of the things that you get when you go for antenatal care, you're educated on how you're supposed to have those small frequent meals and what you take, and then you're supplemented to replenish back so that you reduce on those complications which happen. Because somebody may bleed because she lacked calcium, or there was competition between her and the baby for the calcium, and that calcium is necessary for the uterus to be able to contract well. Some people even get uncoordinated contractions, and they say "Sabiagani," or like I didn't get like good contractions despite the fact that I was even put on drips and drugs to bring contraction, or my progress was not good, the cervix didn't open. There could be other reasons. It could be diet, it could be those mineral deficiencies, it could be like disease. So part of like why they say maybe the more you give birth, the more you're at risk, because we are depleted like every time and we don't replenish. So we reach at stage when like, you know, we've reached the maximum, and then they advise to stop.
Thank you very much, doctor. So that just emphasizes the fact that if you need and you want to have more children, then the magic wand is for you to get married early enough. That is beyond 20, above 20, slightly above 20, then so that you can have the number of children. Like doctor said, if you're beyond 35, then the chances of you having more children also keep on reducing. Doctor, time cannot allow us to exhaust the discussion, but we want to thank you very much for making the time to come and share with us very important information on the medical implications of early and delayed marriages. Viewer, we want also to thank you for keeping it with Salam Television. Remember, you can catch this program on YouTube if you didn't get the show in the beginning. We also hope to hear your feedback via WhatsApp on the number 0786 10 32 00, 0786 10 32 00. Sorry, 0786 10 32 00. You can give us feedback on WhatsApp. We can always share with doctor, and then have the responses given to you, inshallah. Otherwise, till next time, you've been a wonderful audience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno ye Salam TV. Adhan ngekutusibwako.
Hotel Africana. Come as a guest and leave as a friend.